Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast, hosted by yours truly, Misty Magdalena Grace, also known as Magical Mags. I am an abundance alchemist, helping you alchemize fear into love, pain into purpose, scarcity or lack into abundance, so that you can live your best life, your best health, your best wealth, your best relationships by trusting your best wisdom within. Please enjoy the show, like and subscribe, and leave a review if you see value in this amazing show. And feel free to stay in till the end. You may have a surprise gift waiting for you on the other side of this episode. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Healthy and Wealthy and Wise on the last day of September. As you know, if you've been following me for a while, I'm in year 5 and almost to 400 episodes. And every year in September, I have made a special focus on suicide awareness, breaking the stigma, focusing really on allowing this conversation that is so stigmatized and very, quite honestly, challenging to talk about, to really soften that, and to help also ideally share amazing guests and tools to help people be inspired and educated and equipped to maybe talk to that loved one that you know is struggling, or maybe this is you that is struggling. We had an amazing episode with my friend Tim Ringgold last week, and we're closing out the month and the theme of suicide awareness and prevention with my friend April Ross, the Tantrapreneur, amazing podcast host, TV personality. She's done so much through her own story, which we're going to hear, and she helps women and men be empowered to live their best life through her amazing tools and all that she's learned. So if you are new to my channel or to my show, before we dive in, I just want to welcome you and just say like, subscribe. If you're on iTunes or YouTube, hit the notification bell so you can be aware of upcoming episodes, monologues, and all things health, wealth, and relationships. That's really my mission, is to help you be inspired, equipped, and educated with the tools to live your best life while we're going through this incredible time on the planet, this planetary spiritual awakening. So April Ross, thank you so much. You're an author, you're a mom, you're a tantrapreneur. You've helped me, just really quick testimonial. April helped me through some sexual blocks, through relationship pain, abandonment wounding, rejection, both at the childhood level, the marriage level, the ancestral level. So I'm always bringing amazing people that I can endorse on the show as well. So I just wanted to give you kudos and say thank you for being here. I'm excited for you to share your story.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me and giving me the honor to work with you. You're so empowering, and it's an honor and a blessing to be able to, it's like you're such a powerful healer. And so to be able to actually also, provide healing for you as an honor. And so thank you for having me on. And yeah, it's wonderful. Did you want me to share some about my story? And
yeah, I would say let's go right into your story, and we'll go back and forth after that.
Awesome. All right. Well, hello, everybody. As Megs introduced me, I'm April Ross, the Tantrapreneur extraordinaire, and I help entrepreneurs skyrocket their business with Tantra so they don't have to choose between love or money. And the reason I'm so passionate about that is because I was in a space, I was married for over a decade. And so anybody have a single unsatisfying sexual experience that left something wanting? In over a decade, I did not have a single orgasm with my now ex-husband, and the breakdown in bed caused a breakdown in my ability to emotionally connect with him. And then the worst part of the whole thing is I let it mean something about me, and it destroyed my connection and any sense of care I had for myself. And I became very suicidally depressed. It was terrible. I remember waking up one morning after swallowing a handful of pills thinking I'm really lucky I did not cause myself permanent brain damage. And I knew something had to change. So I did what the American does, and I took a bucket list trip to Hawaii with my mom. But what was different is I took my 4-year-old daughter on that bucket list trip because, and I didn't admit until years later that the reason I took a wild 4-year-old is because I needed my reason for living up on that beach, because I was seriously afraid that if she wasn't there, I would accidentally get lost at sea and not want to go home, and make a very bad choice. So after a couple days on Waikiki Beach, after not even swimming in the salt water, I noticed that my body felt completely free and clear. And I'm like, that's weird. Because at the time I was a horse trainer, I was like training 10 horses a day and body sore all the time, always. And I'm like, my body soreness is gone too. Like, what's happening? And in an instant, boom, it hit me. I gave myself permission to leave all the BS 2,000 miles away at home. So I didn't have any answers, but what I knew is I had to figure out how to live every day in the BS like a day on Waikiki Beach where none of that even existed. And so, I hired a coach. I thought what I was going to learn was how to make more money training horses. And what I accidentally learned was how not to be depressed. And like, my period pains went away. Like, everything about my life and how I felt in my body changed like within a couple of weeks. It was shocking. And it was then that I decided to trade my passion for training horses for my mission to end suicide. And where the Tantra piece comes in is I honored my inner truth. I knew my marriage had never worked. So with a lot of community support, I got a divorce. I moved 1,200 miles from rainy Seattle to sunny San Diego because I refused to even complain about the weather. I was no longer a victim. I was done blaming and complaining. And then I discovered Tantra. And what happened is when my sexuality lit on fire, my business exploded. Like, I was, instead of attracting people who are just like, I only want 1 or 2 steps out of pain, I just want to not die, I started attracting soulmate clients who are like, I want the best life I can possibly live. And the people who are just as on fire and as passionate as I am about creating change in the world. And so, yeah, everything completely changed. And it all started with having the honesty to honor my truth and love and care about myself again.
That's amazing. Yeah, you said so much there. I have a lot to work with here, so bear with me.
Yeah, I bet.
Because I heard, essentially you didn't have an intimate relationship with your partner, which by de facto you didn't have an intimate relationship with yourself. And keep in mind, I know your story quite a bit, so I'm gonna, if it's okay, can we unpack the layers of the onion a little bit?
Yeah, please.
Because it's really important for me to help people get to the root cause of depression, suicidal thoughts. I mean, I've had it, you've had it, right? And we're
Yeah.
fortunate that we didn't, fulfill upon that act. And so I feel like a lot of people, it comes down to the childhood wounding and the belief system, whether it's religion or dogma or mother-father wounding. Can you unpack a little bit of what you have since learned that you were in a unhealthy, basically unsexual marriage, not intimate, all of that, but it started before that, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my growing up years, it's like I was raised, I'd say liberal Christian household. We didn't go to church because establishment was frowned upon, but religious enough to where I was told, like, you don't have sex before marriage. And my parents had it was this dichotomy. Like, they were committed till death do us part, and they actually lived that. But they would have these yelling, screaming fights with each other. And once I got to be a teenager, like, my dad and I would be like, I remember just getting yelled at and yelled at and yelled at. And finally, one day I could not take it anymore. And I finally respected myself enough, but still regret this decision, to start screaming back in his face. And I've said, like, if I was a boy, we might have been fist fighting on the front lawn. Had, my dad obviously had a thing against hitting women, it would have been ugly. And so I was trained, my nervous system was trained that relationships had to be contentious, and that, there was this my way or the highway energy. And so my choices were either to stand up for myself and control everything, or to shut down and say nothing. And so in my marriage for over a decade, I shut down and said nothing.
And I think that's important for both men and women to hear. You being a woman, and Tim had his share, talking about just how the childhood influences and even the traumas that carry us into marriage. So just to reiterate, you had the no sex before marriage till death do us part, we'll just say programming, for lack of a better term. Your central nervous system was then operating from that. So when you got into a marriage that it doesn't sound like it was very intimate or romantic, and had a lot of, would you say, similar dogmatic rules operating unconsciously or consciously?
Yeah, my ex-husband was, he was raised in a church, but raised in a very abusive household. The church members did nothing about it and didn't believe what the abuse he and his siblings were undergoing. So yes, our marriage was with the foundation of that religion. And so, that was part of when I took care of myself and realized who I truly was underneath. A lot of that didn't line up with that, religious programming, and, being told not to have sex until you get married. Well, how are you supposed to know if you're sexually compatible? It's like, we actually had a lot of sex, but I was like, he would not. Like, my parents, even being Christians, gave us a sex book for our honeymoon, and he wouldn't even read the 3 pages he would have needed to read in order to learn how to satisfy me. In over a decade, the man would not read 3 pages from a book. Yeah. And I felt like a prostitute. I'm like, the person that's supposed to love me till death do us part won't even read a few pages to care about me. And that was devastating.
I was going to say, what I'm hearing is it felt probably like abandonment in some ways, and rejection in some ways.
Yeah.
And then you shut down, just like as a little girl, and now as a married woman who doesn't even probably understand her sexuality. And do you feel that maybe also, this is a very poignant question, and you and I have talked about this off camera, so I feel like I'm okay asking this. The fact that you didn't have an orgasm, to me, and we've talked about this in my journey of my own mental health and well-being and sexuality, it sounds like you didn't feel safe.
Yeah, exactly. Because I actually started pleasuring myself at a very young age, and I knew how to give myself an orgasm very easily. So it was very much a product of, A, he doesn't have the skills and won't learn. And B, even if he had the skills, I didn't want him going within 100 miles of me down there. And I literally, it's embarrassing in some ways to say, but I'm also an open book. I was the one who put him inside me. I don't know if the man even knows how to co-create. It was that difficult. I had to be 100% in control because he literally couldn't figure it out. And yeah.
Well, and I want to thank you. And this is a great time for me to just pause. Let's all take a breath together.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just want to acknowledge, I do want to apologize. I could have said, I just want to warn you, this episode may be triggering. I know I mentioned the stigma about suicide. And if you've lost someone, I'm so sorry. I've lost 13 people. April's lost it. We've had our own journey with mental health and suicide. And so I know sexuality, orgasm, talking about religion can be taboo. So I just want to also acknowledge, if anything we've said so far has triggered you, there may be more potentiation. And I would also invite you to stick around for the whole episode, because part of what triggers us is coming up for us for a reason, right? April,
Yeah.
it's meant to be cleared and
Yeah.
looked at. You can't heal what you don't feel, and you can't
Exactly.
heal what you don't name. And if you have, like, I'm even feeling it in my high heart, my thymus right now, my throat a little bit because of my own story and my own journey, even still to this day with sexuality and the sacredness of it and Tantra. So
Mm.
as the host, I'm still on this journey with you. And it's because I faced my fears. I faced these triggers, these shadows, and able to bring them up from the unconscious to the conscious, which is where we're going to go next, April,
Yeah.
to really breathe through it, be curious, become compassionate, become kind, and seek help if
Yeah.
this resonates for you. If you're willing to face the triggers that are coming up for you as we talk about these very, very intimate things, we just want to put that out there that this may be the goal that you need to go pursue and slay
Yeah.
some dragons to uncover things that are impacting your mental health, your physical health. Because like you said, you were twice the weight you are now at the worst of it, right? You were like 250 pounds or something. Talk a little bit
Yep.
about that.
Yeah, exactly. So because, I took on this belief throughout those 10 years that I wasn't worth it, that I was broken, that, something was wrong with me because like, I mean, the movies show you should have an orgasm with your husband immediately. Porn shows that. And at that point, I didn't have any sexual education to know that 80% of the time women don't have orgasms with their partners. Okay, I didn't know that. I was, societally trained that that's how my body should work as quickly as a man's. And so I was, felt fundamentally flawed and broken. And so with this belief, obviously I was feeding my body crap because I didn't care about myself. I trained horses, but it's like that was the only thing I was really doing for exercise to take care of myself. And I had been so active when I was younger. I ran cross country and was so incredibly athletic. So, of course, as I packed on weight, I felt even worse about myself. Like, oh, former athlete, right? Now I'm enormous. And I remember I've got this picture of myself. I wish I had it with me to show because it's like I was trying to smile and I was like, eh. It was about as much as I could possibly manage. And yeah, so imagine my body with another 100 pounds on it, more than you see me today. And I felt like a whale, and I was very, I just was talking negative about myself all the time because, that was a reflection of what was going on in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And the body keeps the score. You had childhood stuff that was being mirrored through your marriage. That's not
Yep.
easy to say. And so you coped. I coped with alcohol. That was my numbing pleasure. I'm not enjoying my marriage and my life. And I do want to have a disclaimer for our partners and for men in a second, because we're not feminists. We're not dissing you guys. I just want to
No.
clarify that. We have so much actual, don't we, April? We have
I
so much
love men.
compassion, right?
That's why I do what I do because I love men. I just, yeah,
And to your
very strong.
point, a lot of men didn't have amazing father figure examples or partner examples for their mothers. And
Nope.
so, oh my gosh, we don't, and no sex education other than porn. And like, oh my
Yep.
gosh, I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like I'm anti-porn, but I'm kind of anti-porn because it's not the real full potentiation of the sacred sexuality that I teach and that I now, subscribe to, because
Mhm.
sex is one of the most vulnerable, most intimate things we can do. Intimacy is into me, I see. And then when you're bringing that into another person in a relationship, holy shit. Like, that's going to bring up all the mother father wounding, all of the ancestral gunk. So I just want to put a
Yep.
shout out there. Like, out of my 13 friends who died by suicide, 11 were men, because I have seen, and even with plant medicine through Prince and different people and Chris Cornell who died by suicide, like, I think men have unfortunately carried so much pain. They just see themselves as a penis and a paycheck. Provide a penis for children and make money and put a roof over her head. And that's basically my identity. And so that's not at all true, right, April? Would you agree
No.
with? I'm going to
Well,
stop and let you share.
yeah, our society tells men they're not allowed to feel anything. And if they feel anything, the only emotion that's acceptable is anger. And like you said before, what you feel, you can heal. And if you saw a meme recently by a friend, and I love it, it's like, you know, the biggest hurdle. So, I mean, also for us women who are more masculinized, but because of, society, but especially for men, it's like, okay, now it's time to feel your feelings instead of intellectualizing them. And I think the hardest part is a lot of men are actually stepping up and they're like, I want to do the work, and they're trying to work through their feelings in their mind and resolve this stuff. But it's like, no, it's like they have been taught not to feel in their body. So getting an access point into their body to actually be able to feel it is a huge hurdle, which is why, I very much honor sacred practices with plant medicine, with Tantra, somatic work, because we have to find access points into the body because men have never been taught how to do this.
Yeah, it's really like orgasm and climax is the goal. It's performance based.
Mm-hmm.
It's if I don't perform XYZ, whatever it is, whether it's the bedroom, the boardroom, the bank account, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I must be bad. I must
Mm-hmm.
doing something wrong. I am bad. And
Yeah.
that's both sides. Like you said, you didn't have an orgasm. Like for me, there's layers around that too, where I thought that was the goal. So if we didn't do that, then why did we do that? Like that was just like my own perception from movies, all of these kind of programming and waiting till you're married to have sex and all of that. There's so much there that is strict and abstinence and thou shalt not, that it becomes rigid and controlling and your central nervous system can't relax. So I just want to highlight that before we go on to Tantra. You were in Hawaii, you were in a different environment, your central nervous system relaxed, you felt safe, keyword here,
Yes.
and then you had the courage to stay alive. So thank you for doing that, appreciate it.
Very welcome.
And then you had the courage to divorce. And, so sometimes I just like to remind people of these like subtle nuances, because until you get out of your environment and your
Yep.
central nervous system feels safe, or, so look at your environment, people, just really
Yeah.
question if you don't feel safe, if you're not feeling loved, it's because you don't love yourself enough to do the thing, whether it's a vacation, self-care, all of the things to really just tune into that body and that central nervous system, because that's where it's at, not up here.
Yep.
I'd love for you, because I've only had one other Tantra guest on here, and you know him, Scotty O. He was
Oh,
here
yeah.
in July for my
Yeah.
5-year anniversary. So he
Mm-hmm.
being a man, you being a woman, he had his own story. You had your story, that of pain and suffering and suicide that led you to Tantra. So can you define your definition to my audience of Tantra?
Yeah, I love this. And this is probably going to surprise a lot of people. So my definition of Tantra is being in love with every moment of life, no matter what that brings. So whether that's, you're in a moment of pain and hardship, like how can I love myself and love this moment of life even with that? If I'm in an ecstatic moment, fantastic. It's so easy to love the moments that are pleasurable and deep and fulfilling. It's not as easy to love the moments that are challenging. And like, even, anyone watching this who did just get triggered a little bit ago, like, ooh, can I love that I just got triggered, because that's the gift I need to find the medicine that I need. And, I was sharing with you earlier, I was recently triggered. And so people have in the United States this preconceived notion that Tantra is about sexuality. Tantra is actually like about the integration, the yin and yang, the balance. And the reason Tantra is perceived as only sexuality is because Tantra is one of the only philosophies that embraces sexuality. We're like, no, we're not going to leave sexuality out because people consider it to be taboo. So what I love about it though too is because it's perceived as sexual, fortunately that's an amazing gateway for people who are exploring their sexuality and have had these wounds to come in and find the healing underneath, which is the thing they actually need, even though sexuality is the thing that they're looking to explore. So it ends up being this incredible gateway for people to really find what it is they need.
Yeah, amen, sister. Thank you. That was beautiful, by the way. I learned something there, and also I would love to break. We love to break stigmas here, don't we, April?
Yes, we do.
Because I even found Tantra through Kundalini Yoga,
Mhm.
because it's part of an ancient Vedic text, right? It's ancient tradition. Sexuality is spirituality. It's spiritual energy. It's our Kundalini Shakti. It's the feminine, the masculine, the yin and the yang. It's how we got made. Hello, you had to
Yep.
have a mom and a dad, whether it was a donor or you were adopted, it doesn't matter. There was a sacred union in the making of you. And we have that sacred union inside of ourselves, the
Yeah.
feminine, the masculine, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light. And we get to now more than ever on this awakening on the planet to awaken that. So Tantra, whether, like you said, whether it's through breath work, whether like I like Kundalini yoga because it hits all of it. It's got mudra, mantra, chanting, breath, meditation, stillness, and all of it in order to awaken that Kundalini coil at the base of our spine, which is where all of our ancestral trauma is housed, is in the root chakra, and how to get that energy to come up, and then the divine cosmic energy to go down, and to meet in the heart, which you talked about loving.
Yeah.
You know, living a life you love is what I talk about a lot with people. So Tantra is not just about sex.
Nope.
So I hope if you are a little like on the fence about Tantra, I hope we just blew your mind and open it up a little bit, because there are, maybe you could talk about this briefly, April, there are people who, especially if they have religious backgrounds like me, at first when I heard Tantra, because I met some kind of, I'm just going to say it, some shady people in the San Diego area that were more about sex parties and this, that, and the other. And again, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just knowing that that's what scares people, because sex is scary to talk about and it's very taboo. So can you maybe talk about it in whatever you share is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So sex parties and affection-based events are part of what we consider neo-tantra, new tantra, westernized tantra. So it's the Americanized slant on that. And truth be told, like I've hosted a lot of affection-based events. For some people, those are a good entry point for tantra, but that's like the Americanized version, and it's not classical tantra at all. So I like to say, Tantra teachers are like flavors of ice cream, right? If you find a flavor that's not for you, don't think this Tantra thing's not for me. Think this was not my flavor of ice cream. I'm going to find something different. And there are, oh my gosh, hundreds, if not thousands, of different lineages, aka flavors of Tantra. So you could spend your entire lifetime learning about Tantra and barely scrape the tip of the iceberg. So explore what it is for you. Like, are you interested in Tantra yoga? Are you interested in, like you said, Kundalini breath work? Are you interested in something more sexualized, like, play parties, temple parties? There are, I'm trying to, let me sit with myself and think of some other styles. There are just vast lineages of Tantra. So I recommend people do like Google Tantra, do your research. Before you go to an event, look at a facilitator's bio, see if that resonates with you. And even if they don't resonate with you at all, say, hey, I really want to go to a Tantra event, but this one doesn't look right for me. Like, email them. They'll probably be thrilled to say, hey, here's the other facilitators in the area. So explore, and follow your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. We are very much about, anything less than a hell yes is a hell no. There are no maybes. Like, you want to stay in the sweet spot of your comfort zone. You want to be a little uncomfortable, but not super uncomfortable. So follow your inner guidance.
Yeah, and it's waking up on the planet right now because of the divine feminine rising. I just want to bring it back to kind of the collective healing. And since suicide is on the rise, addiction is on the rise, a lot of what I have seen, and I'd love your thoughts on this, April, maybe going back to your story of how Tantra helped you blossom in business
Yeah.
and in life, any other tips that you have. I know what you resist persists. And for me, I denied myself a lot of pleasure. I didn't feel loved and cherished and desired in my marriage. And I take my responsibility for that. A lot of that was the wounding that I needed to heal for my ancestors and my partner. And, we ended it, we consciously uncoupled, and I am so grateful for him and the lessons that I learned. So it's all divine. A lot of us marry our wounding, our mom, our dad, our siblings, our ancestors, in order to wake up and remember who we truly are. So I just want to put a shout out for conscious uncoupling, and what the lessons that we learn are meant for us, by us, to move through. So part of my thing was like, I didn't know that desire was okay. I didn't know that pleasure was okay, because there was so many thou shalt nots in my upbringing, and I felt bad. Like you, I made it about me. I must have done something bad. I deserve this. So I know for me, Kundalini Yoga and Tantra, and you have been a part of that journey, helped me blossom and fall in love with myself.
Yeah.
And balance out the feminine and masculine and the yin and yang with myself. Gave me courage to face my shadows. So how did that help you? And maybe give some examples of how Tantra helped you blossom into where you're at today.
Yeah. My favorite sayings is that you can only feel pleasure to the extent you're willing to open and feel pain. And so this is the fun invitation about how the sexuality piece does come into play with Tantra. It's like, okay, whatever orgasms you have had up till now, imagine that was the tip of the iceberg of the pleasure your body is capable of. So when you are finally able to feel the pain you've been through and, embrace this, my favorite concept is like tears are orgasms from your eyes. When you can open up and allow yourself to finally feel your feelings, it might be scary at first, but then you're going to fall in love with the process, because as your body opens to release what doesn't serve you, that makes the space to receive. I'm like getting tingles all over. That's the space you now have to receive all of the pleasure that is waiting for you. So the release of the things that we like to say, we are taught in our society, pain is bad. Well, no, actually, pain is a release. Orgasm's a release. Like, what if you could actually feel pleasure in the moments that you were doing the healing work? It's like it's like an access point to unimaginable amounts of pleasure and bliss. And, the thing I love about Tantra also is there are many, many paths to enlightenment. They're all correct. Tantra also says we get to do this in community. And that's where, one-on-one relationships, we tend to think of relationships also only as like, oh, this romantic one life partner is the only person I can go deep with. No, actually, you can non-sexually go incredibly intimately deep with every person you meet if you're willing to slow down, be in the moment with what's present for you now, and just like even sit down with somebody, say like, what's present, what's alive for me right now is blank, and just honestly share what's on your heart. Like, look deep into their eyes and have them share back what's alive for me is, like, no filters. If you do that, I swear you're going to have a deeper connection, even if that's a 2-minute conversation, than you may have had in your entire life. So it's this, and that's what my experience was when I learned Tantra. I realized I'd had deeper connections with strangers who were now became close to very quickly than I had with my entire family. And my parents loved each other. They loved us. And I realized I'd never connected that deeply because I'd never been able to honor my truth. I was too busy people pleasing or shoving things down. And when your truth comes free, that's where the connection actually starts.
That was so perfect. And I couldn't have teed it up any better. I love you. That was perfect to talk about what you're going to be doing inside of my retreat. But before we go there, so to April's point, because I was operating from unconscious wounding, I was, right? I could have blamed my husband, and I did. Oh, by the way, I sure did. However, once I recognized I didn't feel loved and wanted in my marriage, so then I put on all these masks. I didn't have any authentic relationships at all. And that's not who I am at the end of the day. So when I went to your puja back in May, I'm bawling my eyes out, sobbing, and just allowing a lot of that grief of not being seen, or not feeling seen. Okay, that was my trauma, right? I take ownership of that, but I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel loved. Oftentimes we avoid eye contact with people, right? Because we don't want to be seen. We're ashamed. We're afraid you're going to see us for who we really are. Again, we're judging ourselves. By the way, most people aren't even thinking any of these things that we create in our head. And a lot of it came from mom and dad and our ancestors. So in the retreat, you're going to be doing a very, very powerful mother father wounding puja. So maybe explain first what is a puja, and then what you're going to be helping people with.
Yeah. So puja is a set of paired exercises, and the energy of a puja is very much like the word namaste. The divine in me sees and honors and recognizes the divine in you, and we are one. So the very basic principle is that's the level we're connecting with each other on. And so it creates this safety to go in and explore ever deepening topics about what's been buried. And so in this masculine feminine polarity healing puja, we're going to go into the mother wound and the father wound and hold space for what may never have come up before. And then who you're sharing with is going to stay with you in that connection that you probably never received, or at least certainly didn't receive in that moment of pain. So you get to heal in real time whatever pain had been there from the past, and just eject that from your nervous system and energy field and refill it with love and compassion.
I love it. That's going to be so incredible because, yeah, it's as within, so without, right? If you are running from the mother father wounding, or again, if you're like, oh, I had a great childhood. Well, I'm here to tell you, maybe your parents didn't, and it's still born in your cells, your central nervous system, your body has kept the score for thousands of years, regardless. You don't have to believe in reincarnation. You did have great, 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 great grandparents, though. I think we can all agree on that.
Yep.
And so when you're operating unconsciously, Carl Jung, I do a lot of work with him, and we'll be doing a lot of that shadow light work inside of the retreat to help expose, if you keep it unconscious, you're operating from it, you will call it fate, and you never will change in these bodies. And so it's about bringing that up, like you said, and almost casting it out.
Yep.
And then filling you up with love and light and juiciness. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah.
Do you have any other advice, kind of going back to the theme of suicide and mental health specifically? We've been talking about that, just to reiterate, everyone. We've been talking about how you can awaken and heal the shadows, and all of that's going to help with depression and suicide awareness, suicide prevention. But what other tips would you like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, first off, definitely, if you have any hesitation, need a resource, or are feeling even remotely not great, call 988 or text 741-741. One time I simply needed a therapist in an area. I was out of town and I was afraid. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to take up space from somebody who's like in a moment. And they're like, no, we are a great resource. You don't have to be suicidal to contact us. So if you need resources, reach out. You're not bothering anyone. They are actually thrilled and excited to help you. So that's the first thing I would say. And
that was, sorry, say that one more time. I'm going to put that up on the screen. Text 741-741.
Correct. 741-741.
Okay.
And they are literally waiting to help people. So please reach out to them anytime, and if it says long wait time, I found they get back to me very, very quickly. So definitely reach out to them. It probably will not be a long wait time, even if they say it is. So
I like that too, because I just want to say, I always had a phrase, when in doubt, reach out. And I'm a phone call person, but there's times where you're so depressed that you don't even want to call someone because you're so shut down, you can't even speak. So I had never heard that before. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, April. Everyone can text, and appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they'll send you like a text list of resources, or they'll get you whatever you need. So you don't have to worry about it, which is great. And then as far as practical implementable things is, self-care. And sometimes we don't know how to take care of ourselves. So I'm going to teach you a super quick, like 30-second trick. Close your eyes, put a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly, and just ask yourself, what do I need right now? And usually your body will just pop something right up. Go do that thing. Even if the weirder it seems, probably the more you're going to be honoring yourself by doing it. One time I was in a bath. I'm like, what do I need right now? My body's like, a shower. I'm like, what? So I did. Then I turned on the shower. It felt amazing. Your body knows what it needs. So, if you need work on self-care, do that as often as you can.
Awesome. Thank you. That was so good. And I think that's a reminder, listen to your body. Even though I had been a personal trainer and a health and fitness person, was always teaching that for almost 17 years, when I went numb and shut down, to your point, I didn't listen to my body. And so now I listen to it after all the somatic work, all the things, right? And it's just so good to feel that awareness and that connection to your body. So if you're not feeling connected to your body, if you don't hear something when you do that, this is where I want to make some announcements and talk about our retreat. So stick around. We're going to find out where you can find April, what free resources she has for her business, and how you can get in touch with her. But part of what I discovered with my own wanting to die, my own mental health and addiction and affliction and victim mentality, like you said, we had to recognize we had some victim mentality and overcome that. But I was so stuck in my analytical mind and my head and shut down below the neck, that I needed a lot of tools. So 5 years ago, I had my darkest night of the soul, wanted to die, all of the things, and have amassed many, many alchemical tools. So April is joining me along with another guest speaker, Robbie Richmond, who is incredible. I'll talk more about him at another time, but they're there to help excavate, exorcise your demons and bring up the shadows that you really can't usually do on your own, by the way. Just a spoiler alert, don't do shadow work on your own, because I've seen people die by suicide trying to do that, just so we're clear. You have this opportunity to be in a VIP day for 24 hours with medicine work and alchemy. There's going to be coaching before and homework. So you do got to sign up by October 17th at the very, very latest to be a part of all of this magic. And if you aren't available the 30th to the 31st, starting on the 31st through November 2nd, Day of the Dead weekend, when the veil is thinnest, we're going to be working on ancestral trauma around health and wealth and relationships. We're going to be working about shame around sexuality. We're going to be working about life purpose. We're going to be just really cleansing and clearing through alchemical processes in order to like raise your vibrational frequency, ground in your central nervous system, fill yourself with the love and the light that April was talking about. She'll be a part of that. The puja that she's talked about for balancing out the feminine and the masculine, mother, father wounding, all of that. Plus, if you have a lot of grief, which is part of why I shared what I shared, grief isn't simply about death or divorce, although those are huge grief-stricken things. Grief is just about not living your truth. Grief is not loving yourself. So we want to help you come back home to yourself, your purpose, your karma, becoming your dharma, and really up level. This is not a quote unquote, I'm just going to go to a retreat for a weekend and get away from life. This is a 6 to 8 week portal. Starting now, if you want to join us, just shoot me an email. You can sign up at magdalenagrace.com. If you want a free consultation, just email me at info@magdalenagrace.com. And then, of course, April will be there. She's a huge part of my support team in helping bring to you, the viewer, all the tools that I spent like 5 years and multiple 5 figures, by the way, to be able to get to saving my own life, because you are your own savior. Just a reminder on that. No one else is here to save you. Healers don't heal you. You are your own healer. So kind of getting passionate here if you can't tell. So the price of the retreat is only $15.55. There's payment plans. There's scholarships available. And it's actually, again, a 6 to 8 week experience and transformational up leveling. So you can finish the year a lot better than you started, hopefully, is ultimately my goal. And again, helping raise the vibration of the planet and bringing community together. And this is where I'll go back to you. Community is what saved me. Community and opening up and being vulnerable and finding Tantra and all these tools that you talked about is really what we all deserve to get through this thing called life, as Prince would say. So where can people find you? And I'll put everything you say in the show notes as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Experienceapril.com is the first link I will give. And anyone who's curious or interested, hop on a 15-minute clarity call with me. And I promise you're going to love that call, because no matter where you're at or what you're going through, I will make sure you have the resources to take whatever are your next steps for you. And so that's not a sales call. That is 15 minutes, super quick. I will help you through what you're going through right now. You're very welcome. And my email address, if you'd like that, is april@tantrapreneur.com. And I have also, if you look up April A. Ross on YouTube, you're going to see I have an enormous amount of meditations, free trainings, and all kinds of resources there, even for kids. I've got a serene horse pasture meditation and all kinds of fun stuff.
I love that. So again, I'll put that April Ross, just to clarify, on YouTube, and April at Tantrapreneur.
Yep. Tantra and then preneur.com.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I'll put that all in the show notes, and I'm just so grateful for you. And this was, I gotta say, I'm a little bit biased, but this is probably one of my favorite episodes of all time, and we're pushing 400. So thank you for your wisdom, your courage, your strength. And I have one final question that I asked all of my first-time guests. So putting you on the spot, when you hear the phrase healthy and wealthy and wise, what does that mean for you, April?
For me, that means honoring your inner truth, listening to yourself, like that wisdom, and then, healthy and wealthy. It's also so tapping into your body, healing your nervous system. So, food and exercise, obviously for health, but also somatic work, releasing what is no longer serving you and bringing in what is there to help you be healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, thank you so much. Again, everyone, if you saw value in this show today, please share it. You may save a life. Again, as I said, if you were triggered, that's a sign, you're welcome, that there may be something for you to look at. We're still in eclipse portal season time. Everybody's getting triggered, aren't we, April?
Oh my gosh, yes.
We're all getting to look in the mirror, if we're partnered or not, to really shed. It's the year of the snake. This is all about shedding which no longer serves you, and if it triggers you, it's just going to keep following you. I'm just a gentle reminder. I've talked to so many people in the past week. It's been challenging, and it's coming up for you to take a look at what it is. So please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and again, sharing is caring, since it is just the tail end of Suicide Awareness Month. October is also International Mental Health Awareness Month, so we're still carrying this forward. Even if you don't see this in September, please reach out to April. Again, all of our information is in the show notes. And again, if you have any questions, comments, requests for content, email me at info@Magdalena Grace. And as always, I'm here to serve. If you haven't had a free consultation with me already, I'm here to support you as well. So until next time, everyone, here's to your best health, your best wealth, by trusting that best innate wisdom within. Bye-bye for now.